So I'm driving back home, and I really get a lot of ambition and intuition coming home from my weekend up in Big Rapids that I usually do. So what I want to do is I want to explain what my plan is for this brand, this personal brand, and just kind of get down into the DNA facts about myself that I know are what I'm meant to do in life. The first thing is clean mentality is a movement to push people to break habits that are negative in their life. So, and then from there to grow in all aspects of life. So, one of the big ones that is pushed everywhere in movies, you're everywhere on social media, advertisements on the highway, billboards, pretty much everywhere, unless you're out in the forest in the middle of nowhere with no signal, you're going to see ads for alcohol, for sex, for junk food. Those three things are killers. Those three things are kind of like a pyramid that basically brings you down. So let's kind of talk about alcohol. So alcohol, I drank all through college. The first time I ever drank was I turned 19. I had a buddy that was into it. You know, I was in that mindset of, okay, I'm in between going to full-time college, and I was at a community college at the time. So I got into alcohol, I think it was 2017, literally New Year's Eve. That was the first time I ever drank in my life, and I got drunk. And the next day was horrible. I had a huge hangover. It was so cloudy. I didn't feel good. I mean, and that was my first experience. The fun of it was, there was some hot girls drinking with us that night. And they weren't, to be honest, they weren't even that attractive. But the alcohol, it makes you lower your standards. It makes you dumber. It makes you, and then the next day it makes you feel awful and puts your liver and kidneys through a lot. So, what's the good parts of alcohol? I mean, there's that fake courage that you have when you drink. And mind you, I drank from 2019 until 2022. In December 9th or 10th was the last time I drank. It's January 20-something now. So, I haven't been off of it for very long, but this is the longest I haven't drank in the past, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So in the past 6 years, this is the most time that I've been sober. So it grabs onto you like you don't even know. You don't even realize how much it grabs onto you. You don't need to drink at all. Like, fake courage is great, but you don't have that when you're not drinking. So, I mean, how good is that for you? You only have the courage to go up to a girl and talk to her when you're drinking? I mean, that was me. And that shit was garbage. Most of the time, when I went up to a girl, most of the time, right? So sometimes it did work out. I actually, hung out with this girl, and, whoever it was good. It was at a bar, But here's the other 90% of the time that wasn't good, was you go up to her, you're too drunk, and you just say the dumbest things. And you look like a fool, she turns you down, and the other part of alcohol is you're emotionally all over the place. So one negative comment for most people, at least for me, set me off a different way, and I would just be in a horrible mood the rest of the night. And I might go drink more to try and feel better, and that is a horrible, just not a good relationship with alcohol to have. And if I'm really not saying you can't drink, but in this mentality, in this mindset, this movement that I'm putting out there, that's, by the way, that's ahead of the curve. I don't think there's enough people talking about this. But with the mindset I'm putting out there, I say that you don't need to drink alcohol. In the month and a half that I have been off of it is almost 2 months. The month and a half that I've been off of it, I've had more motivation, been clear in my mind, like as far as thinking goes, it's been clear. I've gained more in the gym. I've slept better. There's a lot of impacts, and another thing, I have more confidence. Believe it or not, if you don't have a relationship with alcohol for your confidence, then where is that confidence going to build? Well, you're going to have to get down and dirty and fucking build it yourself, believe it or not. So that's what you got to do. Some people can do that and drink and be fine, okay? And then those people, great, that's good for you. But I know a lot of people that's not the case. Maybe you're really comfortable around your friends confidently, but you can't just go walk up to a girl in the gym and go, hey, I think you're beautiful. Wondered if I could get your Instagram. And then, see, like, I'm sure you get this all the time. What's your number or whatever after that if she has a good response towards you? So having that level of confidence in the gym for, especially in the gym, because in the gym it's like you take in all this social media and all this content all the fucking time. And I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but you take all this shit in and you've sexualized women so much that you're just like, you don't go up to her because you're staring at her too much. You're thinking too much about it, and you're just staring at her or whatever it is. Like, a lot of men do this. I mean, it's not uncommon at all. So the other factor of this that should be a whole other podcast is that we've been conditioned, men and women, to think this way and to wear certain things, and so that's a whole nother podcast. But coming back to the whole confidence point that I'm trying to make is that you don't need alcohol for your confidence. You just need to start building that yourself. You got to do that hard work. Otherwise, you're going to be fake. You're going to not have that real confidence level. And that plays into everything in your life. Having confidence will literally up your whole being, right? So if you're depressed as fuck and you're drinking all the time, like if every weekend on Friday night, like I used to do, you're going out drinking and you do it 2 nights, or let's say you start on Thursday, so 3 nights in a row you're drinking, that's just making you more depressed, especially if you don't get what you're going out for. If you're going out for women, let's say that's the reason, I mean, and that's a lot of men, that's their reason for going out, especially from, you know, let's say 21 to 25, that's most of their reason, or 21 to 30 or 35 even, that's their reason. So, and you gotta build that confidence on your own. You gotta take that time for yourself. You gotta realize that I'm not gonna get everything I want in life from wasting my time and energy on drinking and being up all night till the bars close. You know, it's fun in college, right? It's fun in college. It's not so fun after college. But if I really think about it, if I would have spent my time in college not drinking and totally focused, I probably would have got way more involved in the things that I believe in. I probably would have found my passion earlier, and it's wild. So, I just saw Nate was on here. So basically, you eventually, when you get out of college, you feel like you've wasted some of your time there, a lot of your time there on alcohol, and I just really think that it's not. So that's one. The second thing is junk food. So junk food is advertised everywhere. You walk into a grocery store, the first thing you're going to see is candy, chips, pop, Gatorade, which is sugar water. There's so many fucking things. You walk right in a grocery store and you immediately get bombarded by garbage. And when you're watching TV, you're bombarded with garbage, junk food, alcohol. So, and everyone knows this. They know it's not really good for them. Maybe some people don't. Maybe some people really don't have the brain to realize that, oh, I'm eating Lay's potato chips, and a lot of this that I'm eating is going to make me feel like shit later because it's got palm oil, or it's got certain oils in it. Maybe it's not palm oil, but it probably is, that are just fucking you up. And you gotta realize this stuff because we're conditioned to not even think about what we're eating. Like, we all grew up with a parent that gave us shitty ass food, and there's nothing against the parent. They don't know they're doing it, but there comes a point where you got to realize that all this shit that you're eating is causing a lot of your emotional responses to life. Food is like everything. If you go and research the microbiome, which is your stomach, and the amount of organisms in there, there's certain organisms that want certain types of food. And when you're only eating burgers and fries for lunch every day, and then say you don't even eat breakfast, And for dinner, you're having a high fat, high carb, full of palm oil or all these horrible substances or ingredients that they put in food. You don't even realize what that's doing to you, but you do later because your stomach's upset or you're in the bathroom for a bit. Okay, let's leave it at that. That kind of shit is just garbage, and just do your research and realize this, because I've just recently in the past year been on top of this. So I'll look at the ingredient label on almost everything I buy because I don't trust it. You should never trust any food that you buy from a box store. Unless you get it from the ground and you grew it, you shouldn't trust it. So always look at the label, look up ingredients that are illegal in other countries, and you'll notice that America has a lot of those substances here. Yeah, and Nate says half of our ingredients are banned in other countries. That's a fucking lot. So check it out. It's wild. It's really fucking wild what we eat on a daily basis. And the other part of this conversation that I got to get into is sugar. Sugar is in almost everything in a box store. So you got, like, the biggest lie that we've been taught is that a good breakfast is cereal and milk. I grew up on that shit. I had a bowl of Frosted Flakes and 2% or whole milk or whatever it is, right? And by the way, I don't know what the fuck 2% milk is. That's another whole thing. But Frosted Flakes is full of garbage. If you look at the label, you'll realize it real quick, and you probably don't even know what you're eating. Because I don't know half the ingredients. I'll look them up, but that could be another thing I do. So, sugar. I think the average is 22 grams of sugar a day that an average American will have. 22 grams. That's a lot of sugar. If you add that up in a month, let's say it's 30 days. That's 660 grams of sugar in a month. That's a shitload. And what you don't realize is when you get off of that amount of sugar, I'm not saying you don't have any at all, except you should have natural sugars, like stevia is okay, that kind of thing. But when you get off of that, you'll be you'll be ecstatic at the fact of how much more energy you have, how your face changes. Literally, sugar changes the way your face looks. If you have like kind of a fat face, you'll realize it when you get off sugar and you get on the right diet plan. So actually, Nate looked that up for me. He said the amount is 77 grams of processed sugar, 3 times the recommended amount. So that's even more than I said. So I mean, that's fucked up to me, and it's not talked about. It might be, if you look it up, if you're specifically looking for it, you can find this information, but it's not talked about nationally on the news. The news is never going to talk about shit like this because they want to keep because they're a corporation and they want to keep all these big corporations in power and growing because it helps them, and they're probably tied in with them and all that kind of thing, So the ads, people make money off of ads. That's the one thing I gotta say is if I get these ambassador ads for this channel, I'm not going to be promoting any garbage. If I get an ad that's about Lay's potato chips or something, I'm not fucking promoting it. So I'm not going to make any money off of something that doesn't go along with my brand. So, something else Nathan's saying is it helps the medical industry. Poor diet, poor health equals medical issues. So Nathan's EMT, I believe. But he's in the medical field either way, if I'm wrong. So he knows this, and it's like Big Pharma. Let's just put it at that. There's a reason why it's called Big Pharma. Believe it or not, I haven't been sick. I was sick one time this year, and I felt like I was going to get sick once when I was traveling. But I think due to the fact that I look at what I'm eating and I'm very, very careful on what I'm eating, my body naturally healed itself. And that's, everyone has that ability when you're in good health. I don't believe you need to go to here goes a whole nother thing off topic a bit, but sort of in the same sense. I don't believe you need to go get doctor's checkups as much as you do. If you're taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and just checking what you're eating. If you're very specific, I don't think you really need a regular doctor's checkup. I think a lot of this holistic healing works. I think there's probably a lot of information, facts behind holistic healing. So I suggest looking into that as well. Same with dental. I think a lot of these career paths that people take, like dental, being a doctor, I feel like there are certain circumstances, like, okay, I broke my leg, like, yeah, I'd want to go get that fixed at the doctor, but if you're taking care of yourself in the right way, if you're really healthy, you shouldn't need to, take prescription drugs to get off your sick, whatever it is, so that's a whole nother topic. I need to do more research on that before I really talk more on it, but maybe Nathan and I can do a podcast on that. So I think the third thing was over-sexualizing. And this is really a difficult one for people because lust and temptation is it's everywhere. And we've been conditioned, you've been conditioned to think that you need this a lot. Like that men are supposed to be fucking all kinds of women, right? Or having sex with all kinds of women. This is an unsolicited podcast, to be honest with you. It's clean mentality, but as far as words go, it's not going to be the case all the time. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, so you've been conditioned to think that you're supposed to have sex with a girl right off the bat, or she's supposed to bow down to you right away, which there are certain factors that if she's not a little bit submissive, the attraction isn't there, which is a primitive thing. But just the world around this is just so fucked up, and it's so hard nowadays to even find a find a mate that like a girl that's worth a relationship with. Once you have a little bit of experience in this, you realize that a lot of these girls are conditioned from social media, and it's hard to have a relationship with them at all, if even it gets to that point, because they are like I don't even know what you call it, like a bot, I guess. They're not really, they don't even know who the fuck they are. They're just like this thing. And it's very difficult to be with a girl like that is like so interested in taking a fucking picture of herself when she's dressed up. I mean, it's superficial women that I'm talking about, and a lot of guys know what I'm talking about, and it's annoying. And I don't know, I don't think it's worth having like a model girlfriend if she's only interested in her looks all the time and doesn't care to really take care of herself on other ends of that. That's what I'm getting at. But the way around this is creating more self-discipline in your life. Preferably not watching TV, because television was created to program people. You know the old saying where an old person will go, I'm going to watch my program. Well, why do you think they call it a program? I mean, it's not that hard to figure out this stuff. Once you open your mind a little bit, it's not that hard to figure out that, wow, I'm being conditioned. Take a step back and actually think about some of these movies. Think about the movie Bird Box. If you've seen that movie, the whole movie is about don't look. Close your eyes. The whole movie is about them being scared of looking at this thing. Maybe that's reality, or maybe that's like the government corporations and realizing like what all these entities are trying to do to you in your life. Just look up that, rewatch that movie. Don't rewatch it. If you haven't seen it, look up what it's about. It's literally about a entity that they can't look at. They're afraid. They can't make any noise. They're afraid of it. I wonder why that was made. Like, somebody had that idea. I don't know who the director was, but producer. That's a whole other topic too, because Hollywood is like super corrupt. Super corrupt. So that's really where I wanted to go with this, is telling you guys like what Clean Mentality is about, what the brand's about. It's a personal brand. It's like what I really have connected with lately. In the past year, I've kind of realized this about myself, that I'm meant to spread this way of living that's way healthier for you, that truly is healthy for you. And if you're not open to it yet, that's fine. Give it a couple years. Once you're fucked up, you'll realize that you probably need to change. And maybe you'll realize then. I mean, I saw this slippery slope. Once I got to there's a certain point this year where I realized I need to stop drinking. And I don't know why it was. Maybe it was the fact my grandpa was an alcoholic for so many years. And then he got sober for 15 years and his life completely changed. Like, he had a couple DUIs, DWI, and like he got sober. He was sober for 15 years until he died. And like, maybe that was the reason that I stopped drinking, because I realized, wow, this man like completely changed his life from getting off of alcohol. Yes, he still had a problem with food, eating junk food, like, and sugar and salt, but like that probably is ultimately what killed him. As much as I love the man and he was my best friend, like, that's what killed him, is alcohol abuse, junk food, and then programming. But programming, depending on what it is, can't really kill you, but it can definitely, the programming played into it because he watched TV daily, and you know, he's being the advertisements are for junk food or for alcohol. I mean, like, what do you think that's for? So, you know, back in the day, I feel like I haven't watched much TV lately, but I feel like that's more apparent now to see this. And I really believe that that killed him over time. That's the thing, is that you can have really good experiences, you can still live life that way, but it's not healthy at all, and it will eventually kill you. It will kill you early. So I think you need to as dark as it sounds, you need to realize that doing these 3 things will kill you in excess. Every once in a while, having something sugary to like replenish your glucose levels is good. You know, if you're working out a lot and you're eating good 7 days a week, and you're doing that for like a bunch of time, and you realize, like, man, I'm like about to do this leg workout, and I'm just, or you're after your leg workout, you're like, you need something sugary, like, to get your glucose up. That's fine. Find something that's healthy sugar, right? I just realized recently that honey has a shitload of sugar in it, and I have that during my work day in my tea, and I'm realizing, like, okay, I need to find a different, more natural source, because the honey they have at work is garbage. It's 27 grams of sugar per tablespoon, which is a fucking lot. So that, I mean, you have 2-3 of those, you're hitting that 77 grams of sugar a day. So you see how easy you can hit it just from 3 cups of, let's say, 3 servings of honey. Boom, you hit that. Plus, and like, let's talk real quick, like, before I end the podcast, about the effects of sugar. For me, since I don't have a lot of it in my diet, when I do, I immediately am tired and lazy as fuck. There you go. That's the effects of sugar. Or you get a sugar high, but I usually don't get a sugar high anymore since I've been eating healthy. I don't know what the medical, the medical reasoning is for that, like why that is that you get a sugar high. I have to look that up too, but I'm trying to explain that. The other part of the clean mentality, coming back to the whole focus of this episode, is that the goal mindset, right? So the goal mindset of this brand is goal mindset of this brand is to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So anything in those topics, let me know, because we need to talk about those kind of things. I'm going to come up with more and more content on that, and things that are worth talking about. I think the biggest three that are going to directly affect you in your growth in life and all those aspects are alcohol, junk food, and over-sexualizing. By far, those three things are really going to help you if you stop doing those. The other factor to talk about junk food is that junk food is cheaper than healthy food. That is so backwards. So backwards. And we need to talk about this more. We need to maybe even petition certain foods because or something. However we would do that, like boycott certain foods. That would be good too to do that because the prices. I think the prices of healthy food should be lower because then you have more healthy Americans. But why would they do that? Why would they have? Think about that. Why would they have junk food be cheaper than healthy food? It's pretty obvious. They want you to be in poor health so that big pharma can profit when you're sick. You buy some prescriptions or you buy over-the-counter you buy over-the-counter drugs, right? So to help you get unsick, not realizing what really got you sick in the first place. Our bodies are naturally adaptive to fight off these things if you're in good health and you eat the right foods and you literally, I think, from eating, if you're sick, okay, and you eat the right foods and you take in good things, lots of liquid, water. I think one thing that is excellent for when you're sick is Pedialyte. That stuff is fire when you're sick. I drank a whole bottle of that the first day I'm sick, along with a lot of water. You piss all that shit up. It clears your system up a lot. And then make sure you look and eat like only certain. Let's say you have the flu. Pedialyte, water, whatever else you look up that's healthy for you during that. With COVID, Pedialyte, water, elderberry, and that's natural. Elderberry is a natural thing. It's made in a vitamin bottle. Great, By the way, COVID, that was a huge scam. Obviously, everyone realizes it now. But okay, another podcast again. So yeah, just really look into all of this. Take some time to think about what I just got into in the 40 minutes I talked to you about it. This is the goal mindset of this brand, is to create better people and for them to realize these things. I feel like when this does take off, I'm going to get a lot of heat from certain entities or people that are programmed. But I don't give a fuck. I know what's good, and I'm a factor of eating well, and I'm like it's just how it's gonna be. So the other thing to talk about is that when you start talking about reality and doing good things for yourself, or like Andrew Tate, like the one thing with Andrew Tate is that he did seem like he kind of had a pyramid scheme going with his website, but also I think there is some value in that, and maybe it's worth pursuing. Because I did part of his lessons in there. I think it was extra long. I think there's better ways to do that program, but to do that training. But by the way, he is like gone right now. They locked him up in jail, so I think it's kind of fucked up that you can't talk about what you want to talk about, and you're being censored all the time now. What was it? Jordan Peterson said that the first start of totalitarianism is to start censoring people. That's the first start of it. And I think it was done really, really well in COVID. That was a huge success for these corporations, whoever's involved in this fucked up shit, because they got mass amounts of people to believe that COVID was a serious threat, to stay in their houses for months, to wear a mask on your face that does absolutely nothing. That's a whole nother podcast. I'm heated about that. And you know it's going to happen again. You know something like that is going to happen again. You never know when it's going to come. You just can't believe everything that you're told. You got to do your own research before you believe something. That's the hardest thing nowadays for people to do, because it's actually not hard to do. So the thing is that we have a lot of things that tell us how to be. Yeah, you're right. You know that you have all these things that are telling you how to be, like, do this. Well, you can't just believe things right away, obviously. Like, everything that I said, like, do your own fucking researching on it. And then you'll maybe believe it more because there's factual information from doctors or well-credited people on this. Not to say that I'm not credited in some way. I think as being a human being and being able to show through my experience and certain things, like, you're credited in a certain way, but you're not, like, credited by the system. People want to be credited by the system to be able to believe them. That's a whole other thing. So definitely do your own research. Don't believe what everyone fucking tells you. Definitely don't believe blatant comments from your friends that are just like, let's kind of break that down, like the bullshit comments, like the worst thing you can do is tell someone what you're going to do before you do it. And when you tell someone what you're going to do before you do it, they have that opportunity to tell you that, oh, that's a stupid idea, or oh, they have the opportunity to shut you down or make you think their way. So never fucking tell people what you're going to do until you've already done it. Keep that shit inside. Something I have done a lot in the past, and it really has fucked me up. So I would take that advice constructively. That's really all I got. The key things to remember from this is that the clean mentality is to treat yourself with respect, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then always be progressing, look for growth, keep negativity out of your life if you can, but if it comes into it, take it with a grain of salt, think outside the box, and if you have to, tell that person to fuck off, or whatever it is to fuck off. Because you care more about yourself and you respect yourself more. And then also hit the gym today.